The world is never short of loud voices telling us what looks good, what counts as success, and what kind of person is most likely to be admired. We study the people around us, borrow their language, follow their ambitions, and adjust ourselves whenever we enter a new environment. There is safety in blending in. You do not have to explain your choices or endure the misunderstanding that often comes with differences. As long as you move in the same direction as everyone else, it seems difficult to go seriously wrong. But when a person lives by external standards for too long, they gradually lose more than a few preferences. They lose the ability to recognize themselves. They know what is popular, but not what they genuinely enjoy. They know how to avoid criticism, but not how to live without constantly tightening against themselves. This is why we must have the courage to develop a style of our own, not to appear special, but to let our language, thinking, taste, pace, and choices gradually take on the recognizable shape of one coherent person. Style begins where over-accommodation ends. People rarely lose themselves in one dramatic moment. More often, they become indistinct through a series of minor concessions. They agree when they do not truly agree, simply to avoid tension. They accept what they do not like because it is fashionable. They need solitude and slowness, yet force themselves into lives built around noise, speed, and constant intensity. This adjustment is not always weakness. Human beings naturally seek belonging and instinctively fear exclusion. We quickly learn which tone is more likable, which behavior is safer, and which parts of ourselves should remain hidden. But once what will people think becomes the starting point of every decision, the self becomes to resemble a public relations office that never closes. The first step in forming a style is therefore to bring the center of judgment back to yourself. Not only will people approve, but does this genuinely suit me? Real style is an inner order. Style is often mistaken for clothing, color, hair, or interiors, but these are only its most visible surfaces. Real style lives in the patterns of a person's repeated choices. How they express disagreement, arrange their time, respond to conflict, choose relationships, and decide what deserves distance. It also appears in quieter details. Do you express affection openly or through attentive presence? Do you move quickly or do you need time to observe and think? Are you drawn to efficiency and visible results or to texture, process, and experiences? Repeated often enough, these choices become temperament. Style is not a fixed image placed over the self. It is a process by which what you believe internally begins to appear in the way you live. If you value restraint, you will not pack your calendar, home, and relationships until nothing can breathe. If you value sincerity, you will stop saying things you do not mean simply to appear agreeable. If you value freedom, you will protect certain boundaries around your time and decisions. When a person's values, language, and pace reinforce one another, a stable and distinctive quality naturally emerges. That quality cannot be copied. Someone may imitate your clothes without understanding why you chose them. They may borrow your way of speaking without processing the experiences and judgments that gave it meaning. Real style is never a ready-made template. It is an outward trace of life that has gradually learned what it believes. Meanwhile, style is formed through subtraction. Many people assume that forming a style means finding more images, more clothes, more references, more ways of living from which to assemble a richer self. Yet, the clearest styles are often formed not by addition, but by removal. The more clearly you understand what you do not need, the more visible the shape of your life becomes. Some things are beautiful, but incompatible with your daily reality. Some opportunities are impressive, but wrong for your temperament. Some relationships are not openly harmful, yet require you to keep shrinking and editing yourself. The question cannot remain merely, is this good? It must also become, does this belong to the life I am trying to build? You can begin with a quiet list of refusals. Stop buying things suited only to an imaginary version of yourself. Stop agreeing immediately when you have not had time to think. Stop preserving relationships that require constant self-suppression. Stop pursuing goals whose only reward is the envy of others. Refusal does not close life down. It protects its integrity. A room becomes beautiful because it has not been filled with every beautiful object. A sentence becomes powerful because unnecessary words have been removed. And you should let preference become practice. A distinctive style does not arrive in a single moment of self-discovery. It requires time, observation, and repeated choice. Notice what you return to when nobody is influencing you. The colors, books, spaces, conversations, and rhythms that repeatedly make you feel more awake and more like yourself. Keep a private archive of images, sentences, clothes, music, and small details that genuinely move you. Not to prove your taste, but to study the direction of your attention. After several months, patterns will begin to appear. Then, choose a few qualities you want your life to embody or resolve, and translate them into behavior. If you want calm, stop feeling every hour. If you want warmth, offer people undivided attention. If you want freedom, stop waiting for permission before every decision. Style is not announced. It is made through ordinary repetition. What you keep, what you refuse, how you speak, and how you live. Also, courage means accepting that not everyone will understand. The hardest part is not discovering what you like. It is continuing to honor it when your choices no longer satisfy the expectations around you. A person with clear boundaries is not always convenient, and someone with a rhythm of their own cannot be endlessly rearranged by others. Some people will not appreciate your expression. Some environments will not accommodate your pace. Some relationships may fade once you stop accommodating them. This does not necessarily mean you have chosen wrongly. Sometimes, the loss of what never suited you is precisely where style begins. At the same time, style should never become a prison. You are allowed to change your mind, release what you once loved, and admit that an early version of yourself no longer fits. Being true to yourself does not mean remaining loyal forever to who you used to be. The reward of developing a style is not that you become more impressive. It is that you stop fighting with yourself all day. You know what suits you, what depletes you, and which voices can be heard without being obeyed. The world will always produce louder standards and more seductive versions of the ideal life. You do not have to find them one by one. You only have to know yourself well enough that not everything is allowed to enter. Style is not an effort to become the most exceptional person in the room. It is a courage to remain yourself in a noisy world without slowly disappearing from your own life. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Yu. Follow me for more to level up your mind.